Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pittsburgh CLO's Close-Ups. I'm Olivia O'Connor. I'm the manager of new work development at CLO, and we are back for our second of 5 special edition Close-Ups episodes celebrating the launch of our commissioning project, Songs for a New Year. This episode is being released on Thursday, January 28th, 5 p.m. Eastern, but it is Wednesday right now. We are pre-recording this week. Still, if you're watching out there live, say hello, shoot us a like, a love, a share. We appreciate it all. Last week, I talked a little bit about the background and inspiration of this commissioning project, Songs for a New Year. To learn more about it, please do check out that episode or head over to our website. While you're on our website, you can also learn more about all of the incredible artists below me. You can learn more about all of the incredible artists working on Songs for a New Year, and you can find links to watch last week's video release, Resolutions by Megan Brown, Sarah Taylor Ellis, and Stephanie Clemens. It is incredible, so please do head over there and take a look. This week, we are joined by another one of our creative teams. Their piece responding to the turning of the new year is called A Cynic and an Optimist. It has music and lyrics by Matt Schatz and choreography by LaTrea Derome. We are so thrilled to have them with us here today. They are 2 beloved CLO collaborators. Matt has developed 2 shows at CLO, Wherever It May Be and Untitled. They were both developed in the 2018 Spark Festival, Untitled in collaboration with City Theater, and Untitled was scheduled to make its world premiere at the CLO Cabaret in 2020. We have rescheduled that production to the fall of 2021, and we can't wait to share it with you. And LaTrea, as you are seeing here, was last seen in the CLO Cabaret in Spamilton and American Parody, bringing to life David Diggs and many other roles. We are so thrilled to have him working with us as a choreographer on this project. You can learn more about Matt and LaTrea and their careers on our website, but in the meantime, I want to get them out here to say hello and chat with them about this project. So let's say hi. Hi, Matt. Hi, LaTrea.
Hey.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi,
LaTrea.
Hey, how you doing, Matt and Olivia? It was so funny seeing that hair, how I didn't have any, and now it's just like coming back.
Yes, we've all got more hair since
God,
since the last time for sure. Thank you both so much for being here today. How are you both doing, and where are you joining us from today?
I am in Rochester, New York, spending some time since November with my wife's parents. But I'm based in LA, but I've been here for the winter, which is
And I'm here in Pittsburgh, living it up on this cloudy-ish day.
Yeah. Great to have you both. And before we dive into talking about the song, I want to shout out the fact that this team has some really deep Pittsburgh connections. LaTrea, as you just said, you're based here right now. And Matt, you also have a long history in the city. So both of you, tell us a little bit about your artistic lives in the city of Pittsburgh. LaTrea, I'll shoot it over to you first.
Okay. My journey in Pittsburgh starts back in 2010 when I moved here to go to Point Park University, studied theater and dance there, graduated 2014, stuck around because, broke and can't afford New York, but was trying to do the grown-up thing. So let's start a new life. Since then, I met up with Stacy Pearl, and I've been dancing with the Stacy Pearl Dance Project and Soy Sauce under Pearl Art Studios for about 7 years now. Performed at the Rep, worked with City Theater, PMT, CLO, and most recently I've been teaching adjunct back at Point Park University. So it's a nice little full circle-ish moment there. But hey,
amazing.
Pittsburgh.
And I should also mention LaTrea is on our CLO faculty as well at the Academy.
Also.
I have to shout out the Academy. We're very proud to have you. And Matt, tell us about your history in Pittsburgh.
Sure. I did my MFA at Carnegie Mellon and from 2002 to 2004 in playwriting. So, I always say that Pittsburgh was the first place that I ever saw new plays, and sort of I always think of, Pittsburgh as my theater city. Even before I started getting work there, it meant a lot to me because so many formative shows that I saw at City Theater and CLO and Picked and all those other great places, Pittsburgh Public Theater. And then I started more recently, getting work done there with CLO and in the Spark Festival and my play The Burdens world premiered at City Theater in 2019. And I feel like I've been there, whether it's developing something with City or CLO, like every year since, maybe since 2017 or something like that. I keep going back, and and I was there like a little more than a year ago. I was the last place I went before things happened. So I was
true.
there for a couple weeks, developing Untitled.
Yeah, we're always so happy to have you in Pittsburgh, and so sad that we didn't get to see you again in 2020. But it makes your streak of like yearly being in Pittsburgh even longer, because you'll be back in 2021. Then you're going on like 5 years or something like that. So we're really excited to have you back.
Thank you.
Amazing. So folks, let's talk about this collaboration, a Cynic and an Optimist, which I have to say, I've been listening to this song nonstop for the last month. First, the Matt Schatz original demo with Matt's voice on it, then with the amazing Julianne Avolio on the demo, and I have been watching this video nonstop in the 2 days that it has been in my possession. So thank you both so much. And Matt, I'll ask you first. So one of the things that I really love about this project is seeing the way that one prompt can bloom into so many different approaches to it. And as a songwriter coming to this, what were you interested in exploring, capturing, style-wise, tone-wise, content-wise to write this piece?
Yeah, well, it's weird. I mean, 2020 obviously was sort of really challenging for everybody for so many different reasons. The pandemic, but also, racial and economic inequality and all the political peaks and valleys and all that stuff that we had to contend with. But I'm fancy myself an artist, so I'm a selfish person. So I at first looked at it like, oh, this is going to be a really big theater year for me. I was going to have the play at CLO in April, and then I had another world premiere musical that was going to be at the Geffen, in October of 2020, and I was really excited about those things. And then, of course, those things were scuttled, and that was sad. But then in on March 12th, my wife and I had a baby girl, which was amazing. So the narrative around 2020 that it was this terrible year, and it was always sort of tempered by this thing that happened to me that probably the best thing that happened to me. So it was interesting, sort of thinking about how those two things can exist at the same time. And also, I think people who know me, and you know me pretty well, Olivia, I think people see me as sort of a neurotic person, maybe like a contrarian person or something, or maybe like a cantankerous person sometimes. But I'm actually, I think, pretty optimistic about things, and I think maybe even delusionally so. I think you have to sort of be a delusional person to want to make a career in the theater. So a little healthy delusion sometimes, depending on who you ask. And my wife, my partner, Jenna, my wife, I think sometimes she's sort of the opposite, where I sort of approach it as sort of like I always think that I'm a cynical optimist. I would always think that. And then my wife, I think, sort of is a more sort of realistic person, but also can take things sort of hard, and especially, I think the things about the world sort of affect her. And I'm like, I'll be upset I can't find a rhyme for something, but she'll be upset about real things happening. So I was interested in really writing a song about the year, and about sort of those contradictions, and about how two people who are in, a partnership or relationship might approach the world and approach it differently, but those differences sort of help both people, and really that those differences aren't really that different anyway. They're sort of two sides of the same coin. So that's sort of the inspiration. And then, I sort of write a lot on guitar, and I wanted to sort of have this sort of folky sound, and I was, playing a lot with guitar finger picking stuff, and and I'm not home, so I'm I don't have my usual full scale piano, and I don't have all my guitars and crap. So I just had this like good cheap guitar that I bought to be here basically. So I thought, okay, I'll just do this sort of stripped down thing. And then when and that was sort of my version I sent you. And then when I got Julianne's vocals, it sort of felt like it wanted to be something else. So like I sort of got her vocal and kept a little bit of that stuff, but I sort of like made it build a little more, and I had this little keyboard thing, and this is my studio. And I also thought in my LaTrea, our first conversation, about how there's going to be a dance element, so maybe there should be a build, maybe there should be a beat. So that was sort of how I sort of came to the sort of sound of the song. And, and I struggled a little bit with this idea that it's kind of a musical theater song, it's kind of a standalone song, and I've written both, but you don't always write something that's sort of in the middle. How narrative is it going to be and all that stuff. But so whatever it was became what it was.
Yeah, that's great. And Matt, you are playing a very dangerous game by having instruments within reaching distance. You're lucky that we're already listening to a song from you today, or I would 100% make you play us something.
Anytime, but they just happen to live. This is my wife's childhood bedroom, so this is our like little apartment right now. So so this is all very of our nice stuff is within reaching distance.
And LaTrea, talk to us about your approach to this piece as a choreographer. I know in our first conversation, of course, this song was new to all of us, but you had also mentioned this feels like a departure for me. This isn't what would typically score my choreographic work. So talk to us about building this piece on this new song.
Oh, for sure. So when I first heard the demo, I was very intrigued by the sound, and the it almost felt like folky, like a folk-ish type of feel. And in my mind, as far as the dancers go, I already knew who I wanted to use, but I was just like, how is this going to work? So it's very interesting, like the piece that I saw in my head, hearing your voice, Matt, definitely shifted once Julie's voice got on it. And I actually became more excited that I did have my original idea in mind. So I guess approached it from the musical, LaTrea, calm down. I started basically with movement. And I knew both Katie and Simon, the dancers, and I know them both individually and like as movers. And I was very intrigued and excited to see how they would move to my movement. So the two solo aspects are I came up with the movement, but the way that they choose to dance it was totally on them. So I was just like to kind of involve them in the process of bringing this music, this sound to life, and how they hear it and what they do here. And also get their perspective on it, because I see them as two beings in two different spaces experiencing the same thing, right? Kind of how we're all in this together. Like we all have to wear a mask. And I was just like, there's a moment that you share where it's just like literally walking down the street and you just taking the person next to you or at the grocery store, and you just have that moment of we're here in this, both going through what you're going through, but like still going through something together. And that's why there's a unison section that I definitely wanted. And that's where I also wanted to kind of showcase my musical style of choreography, to kind of put my little stamp in there, but then also allow them the freedom to still be who they are in this piece, in this world. That was kind of my process and how I saw the build of it. I liked having both of them have their individual. I don't want to give this away. You're about to see it. How they were separate but together, but like still almost kind of talking to each other, but like not. But I don't know. I enjoyed the flow of the song and just the mood that it set and the way that I was able to kind of portray the story that I thought I saw in my head.
I feel all of that, really, and. These conversations, you're right, LaTrea, it's funny to be talking about it before we see it. And like we had some debates about should we talk about it after the video? But I think it's nice to kind of tease what people are going to see. And then you can rewatch this phenomenal interview and you can take more away after you've seen the video. So I want to ask you both, and LaTrea, you kind of alluded to this about process. As I mentioned last week, we asked a lot of artists in this process. We asked more than is typically affiliated with being a writer, being a choreographer. So Matt, you wrote and did your own accompaniment and recorded and mixed this track. And LaTrea, you choreographed and filmed and edited this video. So walk me through that process a little bit for both of you, and what was challenging about that or liberating or exciting about that, from beginning to actually finalizing this track in this video.
I make a lot of demos for my stuff, so I can do that. Like I know how to use the pretty basic sort of expertise on our basic sort of understanding of Logic and GarageBand and things and stuff like that. But so I had that, and I used to, like, before I ever wrote musicals, I would make my own, whatever singer-songwriter kind of albums, for lack of a better word. So, but I haven't sort of had to do it really in a knowing it was going to be the final product. Usually I'll send it to a music director or send it to somebody, or the arrangers or actors, and the thing will become its own thing. But I was excited to sort of get to produce it too, but also felt a little daunted. And again, like, I wasn't I don't have all my toys and stuff that I would have if I were in LA. But I mean, that's why I sort of wanted to be really stripped down. And then I sort of went back on my went against my own ideas about that and did add a lot of stuff. But it was just, I mean, I think when I sent it to you, I was like, I can't listen to it anymore, because I just like was, you just, as a, when you just hear it over and over again, I'm just like kept doing different mixes, and I kept mastering it over and over again. And just, you hear something, and it's not, my usual thing that I do. I mean, I love the way it came out, and Julianne's voice sounds amazing, but certain things I was like, I probably could have recorded certain guitar parts over. I probably could have done, things again, and found a different way to do things. But in art, you make decisions, and you just, you just have to go with it. But yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun, and also just, I mean, it's sort of satisfying to just to work on something that is kind of going to be. I mean, it's not the finished product because LaTrea's choreography and video sort of, like, I really think make it come to life, and I really have a hard time now after watching the video, like, separating it from the video. I think because one thing I really love about what he did was, I sort of was in my mind, I sort of was going for the stripped down thing, and then it sort of became something else. But there's something about the video that's really stark and really sort of just simple, and that sort of underscores and also sort of contrasts with what we're hearing in, like, a really interesting way, and it sort of makes it like you have the two pieces and it makes a third thing, I think. And so I love that it's sort of like it's become of one piece to me now.
I love that. Yes, cumulatively greater than the sum of its parts, for sure.
Yes.
And LaTrea, talk to us about, like, deciding how to shoot this, and, like, deciding to do it, spoiler alert, in black and white. Like, tell us about that process.
Right. Well, honestly, when I went to thinking about how I wanted to look, I knew that I did kind of want a black and white effect on it. I don't know, it felt like it fit perfectly. And then as far as filming it, I was actually kind of inspired. I found myself stuck on, like, the beginning and the end, right? And again, spoiler alert, for me, that's more of the more filmy aspects of it. And watching last week's close up, I was like, oh, I can actually, like, kind of film this, like, dance music video-ish type this. And I was like, oh, that just alleviated so much stress. And so I knew that I did kind of want, like, close-ups of them at the beginning. And then there was something about different gestural things that I asked them to come up with that is seen throughout, but you probably won't pay attention to it, that I just asked them to, like, play around, speed up, and I just chose different angles that kind of just felt like, And then as I kind of was putting the video together, I was like, oh, what am I saying? What do I want to see? What is being said? What is the story here? And so, I actually still Simon, he's my roommate, the video pre the black and white effect. And as soon as I was, like, really, really working on it and had, like, a final roughish cut, he said he loved that the black and white did something to it. And I was like, I saw that in my head. And, like, when it was there, I was like, yeah, that's right. It felt right.
Yeah, agreed.
I love the black and white.
Like, yeah, totally. And I also find, like, in my repeat viewings of this video, that there's so much to take in each viewing. Like, it is simple, but it's also deceptively simple, because you can watch these in the foreground, you can watch these in the background. There's a lot of really beautiful like, nuance and detail in this piece. And with all of that talking about it, let's watch it. So before we do, though, I want to thank some folks. As always, I want to thank Becca and Sid behind the scenes who make this show happen. I want to thank our designer Steph for her beautiful graphics, and the brilliant composer Adam Overit for our theme music. Matt, LaTrea, I want to thank you for joining us and sharing this information about your process with us. Folks at home, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time, and enjoy a cynic and an optimist. Bye.
This year was a glass half empty, a glass that was cloudy and cracked, and the liquid inside was likely laced with cyanide, but at least the glass is still intact. You believe I'm naive, but in fact I'm a cynic and an optimist. I'm a skeptic filled with hope, and when I'm failing I pretend that I'm prevailing. It's the only way I cope. I'm a cynic and an optimist. I will laugh after I cry, and when I'm fed up I dig deep to keep my head up. That's the way that I get by. And every now and then I fail to find this point of view, and once or twice again I lose myself like people do. But 8 times out of 10 I fake it and I make it through, and with the other 2, that's when I turn to you. I'm a cynic and an optimist. I take tragedy in stride. With no sun shining, I still see a silver lining. Otherwise, I'd stay inside and hide. Still, every now and then I tire of this POV, and once or twice again I'm sick of everything I see. And these are moments when I beg for negativity, and I can guarantee that's when you'll turn to me. 'Cause you're a realist and a pessimist, an idealist filled with dread. But when we're walking, we just cannot keep from talking. We say what's often left unsaid.